What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to give you guys just my basic thoughts on Avengers Doomsday, the cast reveal that was today. I saw it like late last night that there was going to be something really, really big today. I kind of did believe it, and then I kind of forgot about it. and the day went, and I go on Twitter, and I was thinking in my head, what's going to be this big reveal, right? Is it going to be? It can't be some big rumor if it kind of comes straight from them. And then they just freaking, unloaded on us with all of the cast. And, there's more cast to come from what they've, already teased with Robert Downey Jr. And, the list is extensive. It is really, really long. And I have a couple different thoughts. Look, as time has gone on, as I've gotten older, just as things have happened, I've fallen out of love with a fair amount of this stuff. I'll never forget, the greatest arcs, I think, of the MCU and leading into Infinity War and all that, and just the feelings, of the last two Avengers movies will always be very special, okay? So with that being said, as time has gone on, I guess I've become kind of a more casual / just not caring as much. There's things I've just completely skipped out on, although I am still a filthy casual, and announcing a bunch of names is actually a recipe to get somebody like me, maybe back on board. So it's kind of both those feelings at once, though, where it's some part of me thinks, you know what, it's kind of just throwing names at a board. Also, I think to almost in kind of a funny way, but maybe not funny way at the end of the day, where does all the budget going, right? Or is this all where the budget is going? This is a long list, and the list is not even done yet, right? There's going to be more people. We know Robert Downey Jr. is going to make bank on this, and they're just bringing back so many freaking names, even if they're in it for 2, 3, 4 minutes, right? What does this mean for the VFX budget, right? Do they get a budget, or are they just people kind of working from home? So, again, I say that jokingly, but also you got to be able to space this money out. And is this going to be the biggest budget for any movie, in all of eternity? You think too, the biggest Avengers movies and just how many, but I feel like this number is probably going to beat that. And they've been in these movies before, and so I imagine their salaries go up. So I don't know. I think in terms of money, I don't know why. That's something I immediately go to, but no, I do wonder how that all shakes out. And then, after that part, that curiosity type part, then I do fall kind of on both sides, where, one side is okay, this is cool, right? So many of them coming back. I'll tell you, okay, when it comes to kind of the standouts to me, it's actually the X-Men. Now, Magneto, Professor X, we've seen them here and there. And I do actually think each time they bring them back, it's not as impactful, each time that they do it. But, when you hear about Mystique, or when you hear James Marsden's coming, right? Some of those names, I guess almost the B tier side of which, they're still elite and they're great actors and stuff. But when you think to the lesser known, or the ones that haven't come back, I guess, it's probably maybe that's why, right? These are people that haven't come back as often. Even Channing Tatum, that's, to me, that's a really, really big one. Just because, which is weird, because just how that entire arc, unfolded, in front of us, with Deadpool and Wolverine, that's a really, really cool one. So, names do get me, and then some of them don't. Some of them I just don't care. Some of them, Fantastic Four, which is, I'm not saying that's in either of those categories. That's almost a third category of all right, but it's hard to get to it. It is exciting in a way, because it's okay, you're bringing, a legendary group in, but also, we haven't even seen them specifically, this cast, this visual direction that they're going, this artistic direction, and whatever kind of themes and the type of movie and just whatever the types of roles, these characters are portraying this time around. We haven't seen it yet. So, bringing them in is kind of almost a third category, where it's it's not nothing, and it's not massive excitement. It's kind of, okay, you still have to prove it, with some of these people, and that would be an example, of that group. Then I guess there's the group of okay, well, why didn't you bring other people back? So, Chris Evans obviously comes up there, Mark Ruffalo, right? So, no Hulk, no Spider-Man is kind of a big one. We'll see, if that actually ends up happening. I know, obviously, two-parter type situation here, and maybe, Young Avengers, and a Haley Steinfeld and all that. Maybe they come in with part 2 and not with this one. So maybe that has to do with some of it. But Scarlet Witch, or Elizabeth Olsen, you got some big names. I guess Doctor Strange. I guess that's really the big list, right? Of 4 or 5 people that aren't going to be in this movie, at least right now. Again, there's going to be more cast. I wonder if they're saving a couple huge names and then a couple mid names, right? Nobody's really small. It's hard to say nobody's. They'll announce a couple nobodies and then some really big people. people. I mean, everybody's kind of somebody, I mean, in this universe. So, again, it's kind of mixed emotion. There's a part of me where it's like, yeah, they're just all names. And, I mean, you expect it with an Avengers movie like this that you're going to bring so many people back. But then also, like, is it as impactful? And I think, I don't know, maybe just the blend of, like, who you're actually bringing back and how they're going to be working off of each other. Like, that's the exciting part, right? That's where you can get matchups, almost like a sport type event, right? That's where you can get these matchups that you don't get anywhere else or any other time. So that is the exciting part. And then, there's obviously also the side of like, what if all this stuff doesn't work out? Not like they drop out, but like, what if they can't balance? Now, I will say the Russo brothers, they've done a pretty good job, and that's kind of like their main thing above all else is ensemble cast and like making sure. I think there was like an interview done with them a little while ago that's like a big thing they focus on, right? Making sure everybody kind of gets their moment, and then you're gonna obviously have the standouts and some of like the main cast, but everybody's gonna have to have like their kind of moment within the story. So I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of Marvel related things recently in the last like 3-4 years. I imagine I'm gonna see this movie. It's just my expectations where I'm kind of at is not the same as it once was, but that's what I feel like that's okay personally. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure as always you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.